Jain, I am Maj Ranjoy Hazra, second year resident at the Department of Prosthodontics and Crown and Bridge in Army Dental Center, Research and Referral, New Delhi.
I am Major Akash Sethi, resident first year Department of Prosthodontics.
I am Major Ayush Shrivastava, second year resident, prosthodontics.
Today, we will be showcasing a clinical protocol for delivering complete dentures in a single appointment without compromising on the quality of care. Our hospital, being a tertiary care center, defense personnel, their dependents, and veterans are referred to us from all over the country. But multiple appointments are difficult for such patients due to logistical, geriatric, systemic health, and other reasons. Hence, this protocol is beneficial for them immensely.
The denture in a day concept has a vision to rehabilitate completely edentulous patient in a single appointment. To achieve this goal, there is a new protocol developed, which amalgamates 5 basic steps used in complete denture fabrication into one. It has got a predetermined, planned, systematic workflow divided into 14 steps. It doesn't compromise on the process prognosis in any aspect. The last step being the denture insertion, which is done in around 8.5 hours total to 9 hours maximum.
क्या नाम है आपका?
नायक अवधेश कुमार।
कहाँ से आ रहे हो आप?
जयपुर से।
We will be making the preliminary impression with a light cured tray material. This material will be adapted in the patient's mouth slowly over all the borders and in all the parts, adapted to the patient's ridges. And once it is completely adapted, I'll be asking my assistant to cure it partially intraorally for around 30 seconds. The extras which was marked previously will be now removed extraorally with the help of a scissor. After the preliminary curing, we'll be doing the final curing in a chair set curing unit, where we'll be putting this special tray inside, and after closing it off, we'll be switching it on for 180 seconds. We'll be checked in the patient's mouth for the extensions, for the retention and the stability. A ready-made putty index of a standard occlusal rims was made ready, where molten wax will be poured slowly to get a ready-made occlusal rim, which will be used later to fabricate the occlusal rims, which will be removed and will be placed over a special trays to get our occlusal rim. During the jaw retention step, first initially we'll be taking the VDR of the patient with the help of a scale. Dialectical line as marked in the patient will be checked, both sides. Parallelism to the interpupillary line will be checked. Followed by the insertion of the lower occlusal rim. बंद करिए, बंद, स्केल बंद करके रखिए. Followed by we will checking the VDO of the patient. To perform single-step border molding with green stick compound, we have developed glue gun and added temperature sensors to it, which cuts off at 63 degrees Celsius, and also modified its cartridge chamber and the nozzle size to get adequately liquefied, good-sized green stick compound to do border molding. Slowly the material is slowly dispensed off into the borders, as we will be doing a single-stage border molding. The material is adequately softened. Slowly applied all around the borders. In the PPS area. Then this will be tempered in warm water to reduce the temperature, followed by application into the patient's mouth. Using the occlusal room as the handle of the tray, we will be removing the special tray, border molded special tray, inspecting it for any inaccuracies, voids. Similarly, single step bottle molding was done in mandibular arch too.
Vinyl selection impression material. We'll be applying it with a automix gun slowly all over the surface, making the patient comfortable. Making the functional movements.
After the polymerization is complete, the impression will be removed from the mouth without damaging it slowly, and it is checked for any inaccuracies. The mandibular impression is taken similarly with a similar process. Horizontal jaw relation was taken by the nick and notch method after placing Zeranoi paste on both the occlusal rims, and our patient was asked to close in the CR position.
धीरे धीरे मुंह खोल लीजिए, खोल लीजिए, खोल लीजिए, खोल लीजिए. The whole block with the maxillary and mandibular impression with the jaw relation is removed from the patient's mouth. As we will be articulating this assembly without pouring any working cast over it, we have to put a separating media so that our impression is protected. We will be using an aluminum foil which will be adapting over the impression slowly all around. Similarly, as we did in the maxillary arch, the aluminum foil was adapted similarly in the mandibular arch too to protect the impression, which will be mounting in the articulator using an clay compound which we have used here to have the base for the mandibular impression. To mount it, we'll be placing it over the base clay compound, closing the articulator over it, adjusting the pin at the midline, checking the occlusal plane,
Articulation will be done with dental plaster. It will be poured over it slowly to get the articulation.
Similarly, we articulated the mandibular cast in the mean value of the articulator. We'll be starting with the teeth arrangement now with a pre-selected teeth set, complete denture teeth set.
Teeth arrangement was started from the upper anteriors.
The teeth arrangement is done according to the existing rules and principles. After the final wax finishing and polishing is completed, the trial denture is ready for the trying in the patient. It will be slowly removed from the articulation assembly where the foil is there in the articulation member. The teeth arrangement with the impression will be inserted in the patient's mouth slowly. Similarly, the upper occlusal ring will also be removed with the foil remaining in the articulator assembly. Slowly it will be inserted in the patient's mouth. We will be doing the trying phase of the complete denture. We will be checking the retention, aesthetics, support and stability. 66 boliye.
66.
The occlusion is checked both bilaterally and everything looks in satisfactory order.
During flasking, the lower half of the flask will be filled with dental plaster on which the occlusal surface of the trial denture will be placed, and after smoothing out the edges of it, the second half will be placed and will be poured with stone.
We'll be first time pouring the impression in this step so that we record all the intimate details. If we pour it in between in the start, then there is a chance of loss of the intimate details.
After the flasking and dewaxing, this is the flask which has been retrieved from it. The impression has been removed from this, and this is the final mandibular and maxillary flask assembly which can be the cast can be appreciated here. The cold mold seal was applied over this, and now it is ready to be packed with the lucitone which has been mixed, and then it will be finally cured in a short curing cycle.
After the complete dentures are finished and polished and ready to be inserted in the patient's mouth, first the mandibular complete denture is slowly rotated into patient's mouth. Which is stable in the mouth, followed by the maxillary complete denture, which will be similarly placed in the patient's oral cavity. Following which the patient will be asked to bite slowly, band kariye, dhire dhire. Following which you can see the occlusion bilaterally, which is quite satisfactory. कहीं चुप तो नहीं रहे, ठीक लग रहा है?
ठीक लग रहा है, नहीं चुप रहा है.
आंखें खोल लीजिए, हंसिए थोड़ा सा, दिखाइए.
So thus we can conclude that with the amalgamation of a few steps, we reduce the chairside time and increase the patient's compliance significantly. The reduction in number of steps also makes it possible to reduce the incorporation of errors. This innovative approach makes it possible to become a very operator-friendly experience, thereby making the concept of denture in a day a reality, that too without using any sophisticated or expensive equipment. आइए बाबा.
Bye bye. Thank you, sir.
In this COVID times, this significantly reduces the risk of our patients.